Good morning. Had a dream this morning, and it was about food. And who doesn't love food? But this dream was about a new Subway sub. And, I don't eat Subway all that often, but when I do, I think I like the meatball. I don't know why. I like the marinara, because I like pasta, I like spaghetti, so maybe that's why I like it. But there's this new ad for a new Subway sub, and it happened to be a new meatball sub, and it was a seafood meatball sub, which advertised to have contained crab meat and lobster. And I'm like, wow, I love seafood too, so this is going to be pretty cool. So I think I was at a mall one time with two friends, and there's actually, at the time, there's a lot of fast food restaurants that were trying something new. There was Subway, and I can't recall the other two, but there were two other restaurants that had very different menu items. But one of my friends got Subway, and the guy who made it, the quote, sandwich artist, the guy who was making the sandwich, he was really good. He put a lot of care. It almost felt like I was at a higher end restaurant, and he looked like a chef. He obviously this was a dream, and the way that he was making his sauces, like he actually made the sauce. It wasn't just in one of those squeeze tubes where it just kind of shot out. Like, he actually mixed everything, and it looked really good. So I said, wow, I gotta get a sub made by this guy. And I asked him, I'm like, hey, what's in the new meatball sub? Like, what makes it different? And from what I heard, it contained imitation crab meat, lobster, and I'm not sure what else, but I remember those two. And the guy says, well, it's just using regular meatballs, and we have this seafood sauce instead of the marinara sauce. I was like, okay, so what's in the seafood sauce? I was a little disappointed to hear that, they just contain regular meatballs. So I'm like, well, what's in the seafood sauce? And he's just like, it's just a mixture of some oils, like lobster oil, or nothing really too special. Well, lobster oil is pretty good, but it didn't actually contain any meat, any seafood. And I was kind of disappointed. I said, what? No way. So then another, I think he's a manager, or may have been the owner or something, he overheard this, and he says, so you like the seafood sub, the seafood meatball? I was like, well, not anymore. I mean, I thought it would be cool. And then he's like, well, if you like it, I can try to create something for you. A lot of people like our coconut sauce. It's like coconut, and it has something else in it, like coconut husk, or I don't know. Now that I'm repeating it, it doesn't actually sound like it's that great, like coconut husk sauce. Come on. So I said, coconut. I love coconut, but the husk part, like it's very fibrous. Like, it'll taste very, almost grainy, and I said, oh, okay, all right. But I'm like, what about, do you guys have like imitation crab meat or something that you can throw in there? Like, what if it was what if it was imitation crab meat? Put the meatballs on top, plus the lobster sauce, plus this coconut sauce with coconut husk. Like, what about that? And he says, well, we've never tried that, but it would sound like it would taste pretty okay. So I said, no, I think I'm gonna pass. I'm gonna try another fast food restaurant that has another new menu item. And he says, well, no, you should try it. I'm like, really was looking forward to a new creation from you guys, and if you guys are just recycling the same meats, just adding a new sauce, it's not all that different. Come on, be a little bit more original. And there were people around, like behind me. Actually, there were two females. They're pretty hot, with like black frame glasses too. They look like they're probably workers of the mall, and they're waiting, and they kind of overheard, and they're like, maybe we don't want Subway anymore. So they started walking away, and the manager was just, you can tell his eyes kind of darted around, and he's like, what's happening? Like with this guy. And I'm like driving away their customers. And because I was saying, well, you guys, really shouldn't be advertising something that isn't that different. Like, it's not that original. I mean, you're just adding a new sauce. And so he said, okay. I know. It's like, I know what kind of guy you are. You're the type of person, maybe you shouldn't be eating a meatball sub. I'm like, well, what do you mean? What do you mean by that? And he says, your personality, let me make you a sub based on your personality. I'm like, well, tell me what it is first. And he says, well, And I told him, I'm like, you better, in my head, I'm like, you better not say, these basic ones that are just sliced meats like ham or Subway Club, like turkey and ham. Like, I'm gonna hit you if you say that. The reason why I like the meatball is because I like pasta, I like Italian food, so I'm like, okay, well, I like the meatball, but I don't really go to Subway for anything else. I mean, I like their roasted chicken too, but that's about it. Meatball and roasted chicken. So if he had anything else, I'd be no. And then he says, we have the special sub. I'm like, oh, what's the special sub? He says, it's a chef's creation. Nobody knows about it. It's kind of a sub that we made for ourselves originally. Like people who work at restaurants, I mean, they probably have their own recipes, their own creation, right? Because I remember when I was in high school, I don't mean to go off topic, but when I was in high school, my friend worked at McDonald's and I worked at Burger King, and it was right next to each other. This was in Vancouver. It was like on Main Street. There was like Burger King and McDonald's pretty much a block away from each other, and we happened to work on the same day, and it was lunch, and we both needed a break, and we're like, hey man, we call each other, or we page each other. This was a long time ago where pagers still existed. We paged each other, and we texted each other and said, hey, make the best sandwich. Make an original sandwich and we'll exchange. I'm like, alright. What kind of protein you like? You like beef, chicken, or fish? My friend's like, fish. And I'm like, hey, me too. I like fish too. Because I love the McDonald's Filet-O-Fish. And he's like, all right, I got you. And I'm like, okay, I got you too. So, Burger King is called the BK Big Fish. McDonald's is called the Filet-O-Fish. And, we both met up. And BK Big Fish, the big fish patties are big. They're like twice the size of a McDonald's Filet-O-Fish. So I went to, and the Burger King burgers at the time were a lot bigger too. So we met up, and he hands me this. It's all wrapped up, but he hands me this. It just felt like a big ball of grease, and it was a mountain. It was huge and it was hot. It was like radiating heat. So we kind of both said to each other, okay, well, let's please describe your creation, your sandwich. And he's like, okay, well, mine is a 3-patty Filet-O-Fish with extra tartar sauce and cheese on every cheese on every patty. And I said, whoa, not bad. I'm impressed, thank you. And then I hand him mine and say, what's this? I'm like, it's the extra big fish. And he's like, oh, what does that include? And I said, unlike your patties, my patties are, first of all, a lot bigger. You're not going to finish this because it is also 3 patties. And we just happened to both choose 3 patties, which was incredible. So it was a 3-patty BK Big Fish. Except I kind of skipped out on some cheese because, actually, you don't know. I don't know why I didn't put that much cheese. I think I put 1 piece of cheese and tartar sauce, and I think that was it. And he's like, okay, so we basically gave each other the same sandwich. I was like, well, yeah, I guess we did. But we both liked fish, so, what were our options? And it wasn't that creative. I mean, it was just extra patties, extra cheese, or in my case, minus the cheese. Anyway, so I don't know how that, I just thought of that. But going back to the Subway thing, so the guy's like, I'm going to create you a special sub. I'm like, okay, this is what I'm talking about. I like it when there's some form of originality and some creativity to the food. And, he's like, but, okay, I'm just going to go behind the counter, I'm going to make this for you. And so he made it. And, I was pretty excited. And he charged me like a flat rate. It was like $10 or something like that. And I said, okay, fine. And I go to meet up my 2 other friends who were with me at the mall. And I open my sub. And it was ham and turkey. Subway Club. But he added bacon and I forgot, avocado or something like that, which was actually pretty good. But I was a bit disappointed. Actually, I was very disappointed because the first sub that I thought of that I didn't want was the Subway Club, and this freaking guy made me Subway Club. So very disappointed. I didn't get my seafood meatball sub. It turned out to be, what do you call it? It's like a hook and release or something. Like, they hook you with, an awesome sounding sub. I mean, and then when you actually go there, not what you're looking for, but then they sell you on something else. Bait and hook, anyway, that's my dream. Now I'm kind of hungry. I don't want Subway because You know, it's one of those dreams when I woke up and it almost feels like it's still true. It was one of those dreams. I was kind of disappointed, a little bit hungry. But yeah, that's my dream. Thanks for listening. Take care.